grab my notes.
Look at this camera. you look like fucking the guy from Tool Time, the neighbor.
Howdy, neighbor. Starting or ending with a cool quote.
Your face.
Hold on. You can get this camera.
But I want to switch it. Okay, go ahead.
Starting or ending the podcast with a cool quote.
Okay, well, go for it. What you got?
I know of no better life purpose than to perish in attempting the great and impossible. The fact that something seems impossible shouldn't be a reason not to pursue it. That is exactly what makes it worth pursuing. Where would the courage and greatness be if success was certain and there was no risk? The only true failure is shrinking away from life's challenges.
Balance.
Balance.
Yeah.
Elaborate.
Well, I mean, everything can't come easy. If everything just came easy, there would be no gratification in your success. I think part of the fun part is struggling, even though people don't see it that way. I think that's the best part. Yeah.
You got to learn to embrace it, dude, because it's daunting, for sure, when you're sitting there and, like, for instance, bro, like, if you don't mind talking about it, your musical career.
Fuck, I don't want to talk about that shit.
No? Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I think
I'm just over it, bro.
No, I know, but I'd
rather talk about my endeavors in the gym more, because that shit was so long ago. My mind state is so different.
No, but what I'm trying to do though is, like, you still went out and did it.
Yeah, but I was naive.
Well, yeah, but okay, fine. I'm saying, well, yeah, like, I know, but I'm just saying, like, I believe that not many people have the balls to do that, bro. Most people go down the I'm just gonna play it safe route.
To be fair, my dad did tell me that at one point.
What's that?
You got some balls, kid. I know, and it was kind of rare to hear like a compliment from him. You know what I mean? About something like that. But he did mention it one time. He's like, yeah, it does take some balls. But at that time, I was like, I didn't see it like that. It was something I loved to do, so it wasn't work.
Yeah. But I mean, do you think that all that mental, that drive that you had during that, bro, do you think that's relevant to any success that you've achieved in this day? Like, there's that you look back on, maybe you don't look back on it in the thought of, like, I did that, I can do this, but you had that in you, right? Mm-hmm. And so would you say that it's possible that carried you through into the gym, that followed you into the gym, that followed you into your new career pursuit and things of that nature? Like, yeah,
I think that same mentality and drive has always been inside of me for whatever reason. I don't know if it's genetic or what, but I've always had that fighting spirit, if you want to call it that, fighting spirit, and I just refused to stay down anytime I got kicked. You know what I mean? I don't know where that came from. It has to be from my bloodline, man, because I look at my dad and even my mom, and they're just fighters. You know, they were born that way, it seems like, or because of the way they were raised or whatever. They were raised in a way different way than you and I got raised. You know, they weren't babied or anything like that. They had to be very much independent at a very young age. My mom had me when she was 17. That's really young, you know. Mm-hmm. So her and my dad had to figure it out pretty quick, and my dad was basically on his own. So I think that kind of funneled through into genetics, and then I got a part of that because ever since I was young, I was just always super competitive, man. And I just felt like at one point, I did feel, superhuman but that's when you're younger, and I think every kid kind of feels that way. But me, I just, for whatever reason, like anything I looked at, I was like, I can do that really good, or I can do this really good. And then I would try it out, and then reality would slap me in the face and be like, oh, it's not that easy, huh? But I never had it in the back of my head to, like, quit when it got hard. And there'd be times where it'd be hard, but, like, it never really crossed my mind to throw in the towel, Mm-hmm. And then I grew up on movies like Rocky and, shit like that. And that's kind of like, and then I grew up with a military father. You know what I mean? So you got to factor that in, and the way that he was raised, and on top of him being in the Marines, and his lifestyle and his teaching points were a lot different than I feel like maybe the average. So I wasn't...
Like, failure isn't an option.
It wasn't an option. Yeah. Like, when I would get in trouble, he would make me stack wood until he said it was time to stop. I'd stack it and unstack it. Stack it, unstack it. Stack it and unstack it. And he'd just come check up on me. All right, restack it, and then I'd unstack it. And then
Have you ever seen that movie, is it The Last Castle?
No.
It was a military movie, and it was, like, basically a military prison,
mm-hmm.
and they had a pile of rocks. and they were just moving the one by one the rocks to another spot, and then once it was done, all right, now you're taking it back to the other side again where you started.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
never ending.
His
you know?
punishments were really weird that way. And then my sister would like go back there and like sneak me a soda or something like that just to make sure like I was doing all right. But like my punishments were like different. And like, or he would like take off my door from my room. Like if I did something stupid, he would literally take the door off so I had no privacy and stuff like that. It's just his teachings were different. You know what I mean? That's the only way I could put it. And I was always like scared of him. You know what I mean? Coming up, like, fuck, this guy's he'll fuck me up. And then I knew my mom was like the person I could go to have a little more freedom because I knew that she cared for me in a different way and I could get away with things differently than I could with her than with him. You know what I mean? But I went back and forth between them, but that for sure comes from my childhood. I don't know. That ambition.
Little side quest here. Do you think that element is missing from today's modern family? Like, not that the dad should be feared, but like I remember like growing up, like just wait till your dad gets home. Those were like a message of death. I was like, and it wasn't necessarily that my dad, like if I can recall, never really actually hit me, but it was just like his presence was like, yeah, okay, my bad, dude, I fucked up. Do you think that that element is missing from today's family? Because like, dude,
That's a good question.
maybe it's because I'm getting older now and I see kids in a different shit light. Because I'm 32, so like that mindset of being like a child of mine's obviously distant now. And so I can see like the shit my parents would complain about. I can see it now. Or do you think it's more like kids are, because I think on average, bro, kids are kind of being raised a little too soft and they're little ornery son bitches, bro. The best way to put it, like they're just extraordinarily privileged and discipline is like, if you discipline your child, I'm going to call the cops. That's child abuse, and it's like, I'm not saying beat the shit out of your kid, but like, I don't know, man, ever quick hand across the freaking across the cheeks, across your butt cheeks with the belt real quick, or put you in check, like, oh shit, like I think it's a good teaching, bro. Maybe I'm on an island by myself when I say that, but I feel like it's missing.
I don't know, man, because I've been smacked a few times by my father, and it definitely made me think twice before doing stupid shit after the fact. I do notice a difference, and I'm not gonna say that my childhood was like I was like raised by wolves or anything like that. I mean, I've had those scenarios for sure, but I feel like I had a pretty good childhood. You know what I mean? Like I had two parents that cared about me. But yeah, I was fortunate enough to have two parents that cared about me. So I can't really say that like I had it rough growing up. I think maybe there was a lot of circumstances and surroundings I found myself in that made the circumstances different and made it feel like it was a lot rougher. But I always had a roof over my head. I knew I never missed a meal. But don't get me wrong, there was times where it was really weird at certain points because my parents split up. And I remember times like, for example, like my mom, and I must have been probably like in high school or something like that. And we were living out here already. And I remember her just crying to me in the car. Like it was just her and me. And she was crying to me, like telling me that she doesn't know what the hell she's going to do because she has no money. And she's not sure, or like if, basically panicking about the bills and stuff like that. And like breaking down in front of me about our financial situation, and it hits me, and I'm just sitting there like a kid, like I don't know what to do. So, and then growing up too, like,
and you also probably don't understand the magnitude of it either.
Of course not. I mean, you guys, have you seen that meme where is it the Breaking Bad meme of the it's Hank driving, or no, it's Walter White driving Hank to go like stake out the wash place where Gus Fring is running his operation. But the meme is like, you remember he's like doing the beatboxing. He's all, but the title of the meme is like, me on our way to McDonald's, not knowing our financial situation, and the dad's all serious, which is Walter White. He's all scared, and then Hank's all bump, bump, bump,
yeah,
bump,
yeah,
get
yeah.
the bag, bump, bump, bump.
Yeah.
I'll pull up the meme right here so you guys aren't fucking confused. Yeah, I didn't know the magnitude of the situation, but and then also growing up on my dad's side, like my grandma, every time we would go over to my grandma's house, it would only be rice and beans, and this was my dad's mom. And I remember one time I complained about that, and my dad pulled me aside. He didn't get me in trouble or anything. I didn't get smacked or whatever. He just told me, he was like, "Hey, look, this is all that she has to cook, and this is all she ever knew growing up. eating. This was their meal of choice, and this was what got them through the rough times. And she's showing you this out of love. So be lucky that somebody's cooking for you. You know what I mean? And I felt bad after that because I was like, man, rice and beans again, and this and that, blah blah blah. Being a stupid little kid, not knowing that was coming from her heart, and that's the only way she knew how to provide. So in the back of my mind, that always instilled like, all right, we can't waste food. You know what I mean? My parents were big on that, never waste. And I try not to waste now. Like, I have to finish everything. I hate it. Hate being wasteful. But I think in a big way it is for some reason in certain kids, the way that they're being babied and everything is kind of like being monitored and censored. And I feel like it definitely is making them a lot softer. And then these participation trophies and
Yeah, have you heard
stuff like
that
that.
saying? Because it kind of ties into what you're saying. Was it like hard times create strong men?
Yeah, that's
Strong men create good times, and good times create weak men. And then was it weak men create like shitty times, basically?
It's basically like the strong
circle.
men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create weak times, which
Weak
and then
times,
it
back.
goes back. Yeah, that was a I heard that on Rogan.
So yeah, I've heard it on a few places, but yeah, it's like I think we're in the week gonna start forming the strong, because like in my opinion, man, we're rather privileged, even if you're like in a lower standard of living. And maybe I'm saying that from my position. It's kind of like, what do you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, for the most part, people are going to have some roof, some food, some, water. It may not be enough or the quality of life that you want, but it's enough to get by. And I would say a lot of people are doing rather well.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of challenges that befall a kid, like seeing like, yeah, I think I mentioned the last one, my folks weren't always as well off as they are to do now.
Mm-hmm.
And so growing up, you got to like, hey, we can't afford that. Hey, we can't, as much as I would love to get you that, we can't. Or, hey, we'll get it to you, but it's going to be on layaway, so you're going to have it in months, not today.
I remember layaway. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, like, it kind of like, when you don't realize it then, but when you get older and you start going to work and you start having to fend for yourself, you kind of like, I don't want to live like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to do better. And of course, whenever it is you have children, you want to do better for your kids than ever that you had, so you in a sense kind of rob them of some of those challenges that they get to see, and it helps create like a reinforcement that, hey, struggle sucks, but you can get through struggle, and if all they ever know is great times, whenever life does do its thing where it knocks you on your ass, they're not necessarily equipped for it, and so should the time come where I ever have children of my own, I want to make things as comfortable for them, but I still want to try to instill some type of struggle.
Yeah.
Which
is the tricky part if you're financially well off.
How do you do that without being like,
because you can't re-emulate
cruel.
that poverty. That
No,
feeling
you
of
can't.
poverty. You can't re-emulate that feeling of struggle and that anxiety and that tension that eventually manifests itself, and everyone could feel it, and it's just it creates a different bond, I feel like. But it's hard to like recreate that if you know in the back of your head really your bank account is okay.
Yeah, no, of course, bro. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not even.
But yeah, like how do you do it?
How
like,
do you?
with your
Yeah,
kids?
just because you want to be able like, I don't know, man. Maybe a way of doing that is like, I don't know, incentive. Driven.
Incentivize, yeah.
Like, hey, man, look, like I know you really want that PlayStation, but your grades suck. So until you show me, I have the cash right here on hand, I can go buy it for you right now.
But you're gonna work for it.
You're gonna work for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And instill that sense of delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Because
I think that's important because everyone wants it, like you said, right away.
now. And I'm one of those now. Like I want it now. But you have to put in the work. Especially when you become an adult. Like, not a lot of stuff is given to you. And everything comes within time, unless you're just one of those fortunate people where things tend to fall on your lap. But like whether it be a career that's worth having, you got to go to school, you got to go to training.
Do you think kids are less grateful now for all the things that they have and like? I mean, it's not necessarily their fault.
I'm not gonna say yeah. I would say yes, but yeah, I agree. Not their fault. It's just because they don't get to see those struggles. All they know is the life that they have. So. It's almost coming like I heard a guy say privilege is invisible to those that have it. So it's one of those things because that's the life that they know. it's
That's
hard
like
for them. It's hard for them to.
oppression is true. Yeah, like if you're truly oppressed, you won't know it.
Yeah, exactly. As Yoni Park that said that,
Yeah.
or yeah, see what I'm saying? So I think it's something to that effect. 'Cause now that you have privilege, like, well, that's just how life is for you. So you don't know that it could be a lot. Well, you hear the stories, but it was similar to when we talked about the rock bottom thing. Like you hear the stories, but until you go through it yourself, it's two different animals. It's one thing to see it on a piece of paper, just like when you go to work. Hey, here's your like when you started at your new spot. Here's how the store's gonna get ran. Then you start at the store. It's like, dude, none of this shit is actually how the store's actually ran. Yeah, there's some parts of it that are true, but for the most part, like most stores aren't ran, or a company isn't ran the way they present it to you in a binder.
It never follows the blueprint.
Yeah, exactly.
never
So,
does.
and I would say that's the same thing with trying to understand a shitty situation that you've never been through from the outside. So, yeah, again, I think, like I said, long-winded way of saying, I agree that they're ungrateful, but not that it's their fault.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there's things I think about, man, because I do plan on being a father someday, and it's
Yeah.
just like, how do you give them a healthy dose of reality and what life actually is and has to offer, without being cruel and without being like depriving them of things? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'll look back now on some of the things that my dad used to tell me. And in the moment, even now, I mean, there's still things that I struggle with. But at the same time, at the end of the day, a lot of it is coming from a place of, just deep in their heart, they still love you. It doesn't mean that they hate you or anything, but they never had a blueprint to this shit. Like a lot of, like, especially being a first time parent, I was their first kid. So the way that my parents were raising me, they were just figuring it out as they went. And then
They
they
were
were
like the guinea pig.
and then they were going based off how they were raised, which wasn't that good.
Mhm.
My mom had a crazy childhood and so did my dad. And for them to do as well as they did with me is actually surprising now that I think about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm surprised that I didn't get my ass whooped more.
Mhm.
So they had a lot of leniency with me. But there would be times where I'll think back to some of the things my dad have said to me, and things that we went through and the hardships, and I'm just like, fuck, I did deserve it. There's a lot of times where I'm like, I had that one coming, and I'm sure he felt horrible about it in certain instances, because you never want to like have to hit your child or discipline your child or put hands on your child, because it doesn't start that way. You start a little infant. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's the
exactly.
most precious thing in the world, and eventually this motherfucker's talking back to you.
Yeah, I hate you. Yeah.
And it's like, fuck, I'm conflicted. Like, what do I do? Like, do I lay hands or do I verbally abuse? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, because
there's no blueprint.
I have a buddy of mine, bro, and he just had a son, right? Oh, no, I can't say just. I think the son's maybe like 4 or 5 now. But he said the first time he had to smack him, right? I don't remember what his son did. He goes, bro, it fucking crushed me, dude. He's like, I smacked him. He starts crying. He's like, and I had to leave the room. He's like, I went to my room and I fucking cried a little bit, because it hurt me to do that to him. But I didn't want him to see that side of me. I just need to show him like, hey, like what you did was wrong. He's like, but like as a parent, bro, it fucking crushed me. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't want to do it. It wasn't like I took pleasure in disciplining my kid. I had to go excuse myself, shake it off real quick, get a deep breath and come back in and act like nothing happened. But yeah, I think you're right, bro. Because you said that's interesting. Like you didn't birth a 10-year-old little shit talker. They birthed an infant, and so they see all that transition from, you going through your growth as a little kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's supposed to be difficult, man. So I think about that a lot, bro.
What was your like? How did your parents discipline you when you would mess up? Because I'll say this about this guy. I've known you for a while, and I've known you since junior high, probably before that, and elementary. And I remember one time, we were walking back from like they had like a little fair going on at Wham's, which was my junior high school, and they used to have it right there, and we were walking back, and I think my dad forgot to pick me up, or I didn't meet him in the right spot or whatever. So I was like, shit, how am I going to get home? Whatever, I'll walk. So a bunch of kids were walking, and you were one of the kids that was walking, and we were right there on Canal Street, where they spray painted the A over the C and put anal and right there by Sean's house.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we were walking right there, and I was like almost to my house, but I remember you were just like going off, bro. You're like, yeah, my mom don't care. I could just come home whenever, and I ain't got no curfew. I just do whatever I want, and and you were one of those kids. So like, I
honestly,
felt like
bro,
you had some
like
freedom. Like,
I did, man, and I got to live because of it, dude. But I would say it was a gross overcorrection on my mom's part because the grandma that I grew up knowing wasn't the grandma, wasn't that way with my mom. My mom, my grandma's like 4'10", bro, tiny little thing. And my mom's like, dude, she was like mean growing up. Like, and I swore to myself that whenever I have kids, I am not gonna do anything remotely close to it. Like, I was basically raised with my grandparents because my parents' relationship wasn't a good relationship for an adult. To put it lightly, my dad was very abusive toward my mom.
mm-hmm.
So we spent a lot of time with my grandma, and my grandparents helped raise me. And my grandma, she somehow, I guess that grandma element comes out. They flip a switch. They go from like mom mode to like I'm gonna be gentle, but she also still had her firm hand, dude. And so I would say my grandmother's the one that kind of kept me in check because like I remember I don't know what I told her, bro. I must have been like 7 or 8, and I backtalked her. And she goes, I thought that was fun. Okay, so I remember, bro. She went to the pantry. She grabbed uncooked rice and beans, so they're hard, and she made a pile on the floor underneath the phone that was next to the door, and I had a kneel on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you don't think that it sucks, right? I was like, oh, I called it a slouch.
I think it sucks.
Well, yeah, but like, how bad can it be? Well, my grandma stood there like a fucking CO, bro, like a correctional officer. You're slouching. I said, stand up on your knees. So like, I was like chest up against the wall, so all my weight was on my knees, and every time I'd slouch, she said, no, I said, you had to be kneeling. You're not slouching. Bet your ass, I didn't, whatever the hell I said, I didn't say again.
How long is this going for?
I don't remember, bro, but it could have been 5 minutes and it felt like an eternity, dude. I just remember when I got off my knees, I had all the little indentions from the.
That's old school right there.
Yeah, dude. I'm sure it happened to her growing up,
I need to ask my parents, like, what were the weirdest punishments? I know my dad in particular, because same as your grandma, my grandpa was a short guy, old school Mexican from Texas, and he didn't take shit from nobody, man. He didn't give a fuck. And I can only imagine what kind of punishments my dad received, And I want to hear these stories, you know what I mean? Because you probably get a lot of shit like that.
Yeah, dude.
Or like pick your
poison,
branch.
Yeah, pick your branch. My stepdad mentioned that's what his punishment was when he would mess up with his dad. He'd be like, well, if I get a big one, there's a lot more weight behind it, so it's gonna hurt. But if I get a small one, it's more like a whip. So he was like, and I had to go out there and pick this damn branch before to get hit with. You know what I'm saying? And then my grandpa, bro, he's from Texas too, and he has this big leather belt with his last name Salinas on it, and it was in the bottom drawer of his chest that he had in his room for clothes. And I forgot what I did, and I don't think I ever got hit with it, but he brandished the belt, and bro, like that put the fear of God into my life, dude. Like I was like, holy shit. Okay,
he brandished it. He showed it to you.
Like he went and grabbed like, all right, you were doing this.
My grandpa used to do that.
That one, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, bro. So I never got hit with that, but there was one time, dude, I was probably like 10, 11 years old enough to know better at this point.
Yeah.
I was being the smartest with my mom, and I was sitting next to my grandpa, bro. And I don't know what I said, but he just like, I'm sitting next to him, bro. He just picks up his hand and just right on my thigh, dude. And I had his handprint on my thigh, and just like the skin rose a little bit. It was all hot. And I'm crying like a little bitch, dude. And my mom's like, see what happens? You talk back. And I was just like, dude. So yeah, I had a couple punishments that stuck out. My mom told me I didn't really turn into a little shithead until I was like 12, 13 years old, which I guess is maybe typical of, a young man, or a boy becoming a young man, you're starting to be rebellious. But like I was a rather good kid. And then I think what actually kind of helped was when my parents moved to Coalinga and I was supposed to move out there with them. I moved in with Sean. And that, I was living in somebody else's house, so I was respectful to my aunt.
Yeah, I remember you always being really respectful to her.
So
like that.
I think that kind of forced me to like.
It's like your second mom almost.
Yeah, but one that didn't have to be my mom. So like, at any given time she could boot me from the house, and I wanted to finish high school with all you guys.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of helped me kind of keep myself in check, because Sean and his mom would get into it, obviously, son and mom and stuff,
I
and
feel like that's so common though, because I got into it with my mom a lot,
and
and
I think it would have been no different because before me moving in with Sean, I was having like run-ins with my stepdad a lot,
mm,
and
and
then
now it's way different, right?
yeah, like that. I would say that me because then when I went to go visit my parents, it was like, hey, how have you guys been? I haven't seen you guys in a couple of months or so or whatever. And it was just like we were just happy to see each other, and I wasn't sitting there having a bunch of stupid, adolescent fights with my folks because I was up too late or whatever the case. And my grades were still shit, and I always got in trouble for that. But yeah, so it was different.
I feel like my dad just kind of gave up on my grades at one point. I remember just him kind of like getting to a point where he was trying to discipline me and get it through my head, like grades are important, the whole spiel. When you're a kid, you don't give a damn. Like
I was
it
one of them,
depends on
bro.
the kid though. Depends on the child. I know I didn't give a shit. Like it was the furthest thing from my mind. And then somewhere along the line, I want to say around high school, or maybe towards the end of junior high, or probably high school, I would just bring home constant Fs, and then at one point he stopped telling me about it, man, and I just like, I guess that's it. Like I guess I
Yeah.
don't got to do shit anymore, and I kind of just gave up, to be honest, and that was it, man. Like I feel like as a parent that had to have hurt though. It's like, fuck, dude, you're an idiot.
That, and they probably feel like they failed you in some way. You know what I'm saying
Yeah.
too. Yeah, man, it was. What upsets me? I've had an interesting life, bro. Like if I were to like tell
So
a
have I,
story,
yeah.
if I ever tell a story and they could like make a movie out of it, like some of the shit I got away with in high school.
I want to know.
Stuff I wouldn't want to say on here
Oh.
but I'll tell you off this, but
I'll tell you one right now.
but in any case, bro, like I look back, I was like, dude, it was just the lack of me being a lazy piece of shit. That's the only thing I can say because I'm not dumb. Like I was telling this to somebody else today. I was the only kid in high school, or probably one of the only kids that I can think of, that had all lefts and was still in an AP class. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get into an AP class and your grades are fucking just F bomb zeros and all those your GPA points, And so yeah, that's what bugs me the most about it is like, damn, dude, I was just a lazy piece. It just kind of sucks. Is like look back, like I was lazy. I didn't give a shit. I didn't care, and I like where I'm at in life, so it all panned out. But it's like the what if.
Yeah,
what if I would, what if I would have actually cared? Could I got into a good school? Would things be different?
Yeah, I wonder the same exact shit, man. Like if I really, really went back if I want to say if my circumstances were different, and had I applied myself, I think I would have done rather well, to be honest.
Yeah, like it was funny, bro, because this was like right after high school when you and I would just go off, like we'd be at parties and we'd just start talking about just some of the greatest conversation, bro. And one of the things that used to upset me the most about you always say like I'm fucking stupid. I was like, dude, like I don't get to have these kind of conversations with very many people. Most of it is just like sports or the dumb shit we did the night before when we were drunk.
Yeah.
Like those conversations are fun, but there's no substance to it, and then you and I would break away, just be having a couple beers, shooting the shit about just a bunch of crazy shit we heard about space or
Mostly space,
they were, I'm not gonna say they weren't the most intelligent conversation, but for us, like not having any sort of formal education and background in this kind of stuff, and just us sharing the things that we heard through, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson being one of them, Robert Greene or Brian Greene, Brian Cox, these like astrophysicists, world renowned in their rights or in their own. And it was cool to have those conversations. And I don't have very many people that I can have those conversations with. And I don't think a stupid person would be able to entertain and understand, furthermore, those types of topics. So that used to really upset me about you, is like you just had like this fuck the depressing Mark vibe to it. I'm just fucking stupid. He was like, dude, you're not, And I think it manifests well here to prove on our podcast that you are far from stupid,
I want to say, and I don't want to blame anybody, but I've been that way my whole life. Like I always struggled with that. Like I'm a fucking idiot, and that was the first thing I would tell myself. And I always down talking myself now, and I've been working on that for a good while now. Like trying to change that mentality and be like, nah, but like relax, okay, just figure it out. Like let's take a step back and to gather some data and try and figure this solution to this, whatever this puzzle is, But I think a lot of it came from, and like I said, I don't want to blame anybody, but I remember an instance, man, this was back when I lived in Tracy. This was a long time ago. up north, a couple hours away from here. And I must have been 8 or 9 or something like that. And we're at the dinner table, and my mom gets up, and I don't know what she went to go do, but it's just me and my dad. And we're sitting there, and I don't even remember what I did or said, or maybe I did something stupid that day or whatever. But he just looks at me. He goes, I just have to tell you, you're dumb as a rock. And I was like, okay. And then I just remember that instance. He's like, yeah, you're as dumb as a rock. You don't even deserve the candles on your cake. And I was like, what the fuck did I do? And I still can't for the life of me remember
What it was.
that I said. But I think for some reason that stuck with me. And then like anytime I would get in trouble or some shit, he would always call me like a dumbass. So like I think it just got like pounded in my head that
You were dumb.
I guess you're fucking dumb, dude. And then I would go to school, and then my ADHD would get in the way, or ADD would get in the way, and I bring home Fs, so just solidifying that.
So there's like a negative feedback loop.
Just a negative.
It was just like, oh, confirming what I was already told.
Basically, yeah. And then I just never got out of that pattern until like, for whatever reason, just people kept telling me, like, bro, just stop saying that. Stop saying that about yourself. It's not true. And then I had to start eventually believing it for myself and doing some analyzation, and then like lots of hard work and trying to get away from those neural pathways that have been carved over the years, those deep pathways that have been carved of like, whenever I encounter a certain situation, the first thing I go to, my reflex is, you're an idiot, or you're stupid, or it's because of this or because of that. And it's just like the amount of time that it takes to traverse out of that. You don't think at the time that it's possible to like change your mindset on something, especially like that, especially if it's from, your childhood. But it's possible, and now I could say the opposite. I'm not necessarily saying I'm smart or anything, but like, that's not what I go to anymore. But I want to say that it's from that. That's the only thing that I could think of.
I'm sure a shrink would have probably say that's a
something like that.
Like the other was trying to find that root situation or traumatic event that we might say is insignificant, but it has this really profound impact on your life and you're shaping the way you think.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to, again, bro, the internet's full of shit, so you don't know. You have to take everything you read on the internet with a grain of salt, but I don't know how truthful this is, but it was said that Albert Einstein said, if you judge a fish's ability to climb a tree, it'll go its whole life thinking it's stupid, right? Basically, like, if you judge someone on something they're doing wrong and you tell them they're dumb for it, they're going to go their whole life thinking they're fucking dumb. And again, I don't know how truthful that is, if they actually fucking said that, but like I see one that said like more guns, more hoes, more bitches, and it was like George Washington or some stupid shit like that, so I don't know if it was one of those particular situations, but nevertheless, it still rang kind of true to me, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I think, bro, like, as a person, and I wasn't always the most conscientious person of this kind of stuff, but I try to be very careful on what I say to people, dude. Because you never really know what effect you're going to have on somebody. Like, for instance, your dad may have just been having a bad day.
Yeah, I don't know.
And maybe you did do something stupid.
Probably.
And your dad was just rough day at work, and it just fucking came out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And look at the effect that it had. So you never really know what you're going to say, how it's going to impact somebody, and how long it's going to stay there, And so I try to be real careful when I speak to people. Even if I'm having a disagreement or like I'm very, very upset at this person, I try as hard as I can to rationally think about the shit that I'm about to come out my mouth, because for one, you don't hit reverse and take it back. You can't rewrite it. It's already been said. And I don't want to hurt someone in that way.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to say some shit, especially if you know a person really, really well. And you know what like their insecurities are, and you know what they're weak about, and you fucking hit them in that spot just to get that like, ha, I got you, bitch, Like, that's easy to do that kind of stuff, And
the messed up part about it too is that I didn't even notice this until I met my girl, or my fiance rather, but I would like blurt out things in a way that my father used to do it to me, and she recognized it before I did because it was hurting her feelings, and I was kind of blunt in that way. But I didn't realize I was doing the same exact shit that he was doing, and I was like, oh man, I'm hurting probably a lot of people, speaking the way I'm speaking, and I had to correct that over time and analyze it and figure out how to change it, but I didn't realize that that was just now that's how I conduct myself. You know what I mean? And it you don't ever think that you're gonna be a spitting image of your parents when you grow up when you're young, because you think they're idiots when
Yeah.
you're a kid. But you grew up to it's crazy how much of an impact it has that you grew up to be damn near close to what they are or what they were back then, and with a little twist,
Mhm.
there's some individuality in there. But I think
Yeah,
people
you're a lot closely resemble them than you would otherwise think, you
I
know?
think people rarely break away from that though. And people don't realize how much they are like their parents or their surroundings in general. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? And a lot of my personality and my characteristics come from a lot of what I went through, my experiences as a child, but also like the things that I would do for fun with my family, not knowing that it was affecting me growing up. Like, bro, my girl like looks at me like, what the is wrong? Like our family movies growing up were like Don't Be a Menace, like Friday, Menace to
Uh-huh.
Society, like boys, like all these movies that children shouldn't be watching. There's a scene in Don't Be a Menace where like it goes there. It's basically a parody movie, but there's a scene where they show up at a party and it's making fun of people like how they dance and like how they're grinding on each other. And the first couple is just like this, and then it pans to the second couple and they're a little bit closer, and then it pans to the third couple, they're making out, and then it goes to the fourth couple and they're butt ass naked, just fucking, bro. On the dance floor and shit. And it was like, for me as a kid, that shit was hilarious.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And like every movie, like every word and every movie that we were watching was fuck this and fuck that and murder and blah, blah, blah. And then on top of like growing up with like, bro, it's just like this shaped my childhood. Like my surroundings and shit, things I saw. And then I wonder why now, like I have such a dark sense of humor almost. Like my sense of humor is a lot different than for sure my fiance's, because she grew up with a way different environment than I
Mhm.
did, and it's almost like for me it's like pure. It's like
Isn't it
I
kinda
don't want to
weird
fuck with that.
how when you're dating somebody, these are your norms, and then you get to see your lifestyles clashing in a sense, like, um, I knew, for a fact I experienced that with my last relationship and
Yeah.
my family. She was just like, "Well, this is a lot more different than I," and then, like, the more I paid attention after her comment, the way her family conducted their business and the way mine did was completely, um, internal temperature too high. Hmm. Anyway,
We still got this.
um, it was like stark differences,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like maybe clash is the wrong way to just to put it, but like it was just like just boom, holy shit! Like when there's that picture of like fresh water and ocean water, these two different seas, where it's like that straight line where like dark blue water and then green water in the ocean just met together. It was like that. It's kind of crazy. You don't realize it until someone points it out.
Mhm.
At least I didn't anyway.
Yeah, that contrast. But
Mhm.
for luckily for me though, it never clashed our relationship. It was just a good opportunity for perspective, and luckily I got to see that there's still some really good people out there, and families that aren't necessarily dysfunctional, because I'd like to say that about my family. Like I love everybody, and I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest. I mean, there's a couple things I would change, but for the most part, that's what makes my family. Uh, and
I,
it made me who I am. So
that's the interesting part too, bro. Because you have to be able to like if you have to be able to take the good out of the situation and and try your best to alleviate the negatives
yeah,
that come that that every family possesses. Um, and that's why hopefully going forward you can stitch that into making yourself a great family. Like uh, all the great things about your family that you do enjoy and love. Because dude, honestly, man, I would say I have a rather dark sense of humor. Not that my family was brought up that way at all. Like mine was actually completely different. We didn't watch kind of stuff like that. But growing up, going to friends' houses where their parents didn't really care, or I like having a personality where, because dude, honestly, the dark sense of humor allows you not to be super sensitive.
exactly. I think it kind of adds a layer of skin to you.
Yeah, like it would be. I don't know how it would be, but I feel like it'd be annoying to be like to see something or hear something, be like, oh, I'm appalled. How dare you say that? Like, it didn't even offend me, but it might offend him. Like, I just can't see myself like Now, there's things that you shouldn't say that are like socially unacceptable, you know, but
Yeah, like racist bullshit.
yeah, you know, but like when it's in a joking context, and I think this is why comedians, they're super necessary in our day-to-day life, because as a comedian, you're pushing that boundary of what's socially acceptable, you know, and you make it, you know, in a way that's funny, where it's not being demeaning, you know, something that people could recognize. I think that's having a dark sense of humor allows that.
Yeah,
You're
it
not
gives
super
you more of
sensitive.
a. I feel like you connect more with a lot of more people too, because I feel like there's more people that have that sense of humor and that more that like rather than the censored childhood. I feel like not a lot of people had that child censored childhood.
There
I
you
feel
go.
like not a lot of people had the censored childhood, and I just feel like you get along with people more. It's more real. Like it's less of an eggshell feeling.
Exactly. You know,
Like
we
walking on eggshells. I mean,
no, for sure. I mean, dude, in my line of work, man, you see a lot of weird things. You come across a lot of weird people, you know, and seeing some of the things that you see, it's hard to like some of the stuff I've seen. It'll be stuck with me till the day that I die.
mm-hmm.
You have to try to make light of that situation, so it's not like you're walking around with this burden, this bag full of crappy situations that you've been exposed to. And I had a buddy of mine, one of my supervisors at the time. He used to be a part-time firefighter or EMT or something like that. And they went to a car accident. And granted, this might be like, it was a very morbid sense of humor, but seeing someone's brains scrambled across the floor.
You saw that?
I didn't. He was
Yeah.
telling me a story about it. And after they were done, like, you know, cleaning up the mess, he was like, anyone want some scrambled eggs? And they all start laughing.
Yeah.
You know, like it's when you think about like that's someone's
It's desensitized.
you know, that's someone's family members, but they're not saying it in front of those people. Obviously, they would have
Yeah.
like decorum when if they were addressing the family and stuff, they wouldn't say something like that. But amongst each other, it's like
You have to though.
you
get
have
through
to
those
because like, dude,
situations.
that's not normal to see someone's you know bodily you know or their internal organs splattered across the floor. You know, I'm sure that day is burned vivid into his mind. He can tell you exactly where the shoes were and
Yeah.
you know exactly what the body looked like. So it's a way to make light of that and not have it just like I said, just be this sack that you're carrying on your back, full of weight of all the crappy stuff that you've had to see. You have to try to make light of it somehow. And I think that humor's
It's a
a
good
healthy
tool for that,
outlet,
yeah.
you know, for that. At least an outlet that's like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a fucking psychologist will be like, you're speaking nonsense, but I feel that it works.
No, I think it does. That's why oftentimes when there's certain situations where you get nervous, you just kind of start laughing. You know what I mean? Because that's one of the tools that I think is just a natural reflex that we have to just lean towards the more humorous side. I feel like it's like almost dissociating yourself from the situation and what the reality of it actually is. That way you can just make it through the situation and focus on what you need to focus on to get through it. You know, because if you just sit there and dwell on the reality of it, that magnitude of it might hit you and it might create what is it, paralysis through analysis, you know? And it's just makes it so much easier if you could just sit back and laugh about it.
Yeah, we had this coworker that was in a car accident, like a rollover, and we got word of it, so we're all like worried, like, damn, dude, hopefully he pulls through. Turns out he was perfectly fucking fine. It was like the moment we got the green light that he was perfectly fine, all the jokes started going around, bro. You know, and then it got to the point where we tell it to him. And he was a good sport about it. You know, at work, I guess like the threshold that we have is family and kids. That's you don't talk about that, but you as a person, you're free game. You know, and all the dumb shit you ever done, you know what I'm saying? Just because you don't want to make it personal, you know, like, hey, dude, your wife's a bitch, you know, and like, or your kid's an idiot. You know?
Or how about your mom? Like your mom. Oh, your mom.
It depends though, bro. You know, come on, dude. You know, it's no. I would say like you can tell when someone's joking. There's this one guy that I work with, man, and he's since changed. But dude, he would talk so much shit, dude, and well, damn, what's all we do when we're together is talk shit to each other, you know, in like some way, shape, or form. But dude, when he would say it, I felt like he was legitimately trying to like piss me off, dude. And it was like you can see right through it, you know. Yeah, I'm sure he was. But my point is, you can tell a difference when it's just like
genuine horseplay, and then
and
something
then
that,
when you're trying to get a rise out of somebody, and you're trying to find that nerve that sets them off.
yeah, there's blatant disrespect, and then there's like horseplay,
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah, when it's strictly
there's a
satire,
fine
you can
line.
tell, because you'll be sitting there like, oh, dude, fuck you, that was a good one, and I've had that plenty of times at work, where I'm like stunted, and I'm pretty quick on my comebacks, and there's times like, fuck, bitch, you got me, dude, that was a good one, I respect it. Just I stand by, I got one coming for you, but that was a good one,
Technical difficulties. We had to take a break anyway.
And we're back.
Spin the wheel. What should we call this segment?
Spin the wheel.
Spin the wheel.
Yeah. Let's not make it more complicated than it used to be.
All right, so we got UFO shooting. All right.
Have you heard anything about them?
No, I haven't. I don't even know what you were talking about.
So, did you hear about the China service? They were calling it a weather balloon, but they were saying it was a Chinese surveillance balloon.
Oh yeah, okay. So these things.
So like it came through from like China, crossed like across the Pacific, into Alaska, through Canada, and then like from the Dakotas down, and they shot it down outside of like on the Atlantic Ocean somewhere. Don't quote me on this, but somewhere probably along the Carolinas, some neck of the woods. Anyway, yeah, they shot this thing down, and then like maybe a week later, they shot down. They called it. They didn't know where it was from, who it was from. It was a cylinder-shape object. I think they shot it down off the coast of Alaska, and then like a day or two later, they shot another one down in Canada. Similar object. I guess they were tracking it. They had some F-22 Raptors that were chasing it, and it went into Canadian airspace. And I guess we have like a joint defense thing with Canada, and so they gave them the green light to shoot that fucker down. They shot it down. If they've released anything about where it came from, what it was, or whatever, I don't know. But it's kind of weird because like in the span of a couple days, they shot down a few different unidentified flying objects. Doesn't mean they're extraterrestrial, but
yeah,
they don't know what the hell they were, and they described them as these silver cylinder shapes.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of crazy. And then, of course, the conspiracy theories come out about, they just released 160 names on the Epstein list. They don't want you to know about that. And then did you hear about that? Was it Ohio? Where they had that big derailment of the train cars?
Mm-mm.
And they're calling it like United States Chernobyl. Like a bunch of chemicals came out. I don't think they were radioactive, but they're super toxic and the carcinogens. So they're like, wildlife is dying in masses right now. Like the water is fucked. Like this lady, I watched a video, she threw like a rock into a pond or a stream. And once the rock hit, you just saw like that rainbow effect that oil has inside of water.
Oh, yeah.
And so every time like when the rock hit and it made all those splashes, all the individual drops also made those little rainbow colors in the water. So apparently this UFO shit supposed to be covering up all this stuff because the news is not really covering. Like, we're
it's
fine.
a distraction.
Basically, as as Sean puts it, the foil hats are starting to come out.
So they're trying to distract us and detour our eyes from what's really going on. The explosion over here. Like, hey, what is that? Look over there.
Yeah, basically. So I mean, I don't know, but it's still kind of weird that now they're shooting down these cylinder type things, and I don't know if they discussed the rate of speed or the type of propulsion it may have had, but I don't know, a cylinder.
I think they just don't want to tell us that they're actually spying on us.
That could be it,
because
like China's spying on us. That could be it too.
Yeah, maybe they're invading our privacy, and the government doesn't want us to know that our privacy is being compromised. Because it might send people in a panic or something like that. So they're trying to downplay which the government has a great track record for downplaying, certain things or epic catastrophes, and situations that have happened, and they downplay it.
So we can go ahead and put this on there. It's on YouTube, so I don't think we get flagged for it.
Are you cool with doing the timer on each topic?
Sure.
What do you want to do? 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
5 minutes is cool.
Okay.
Look, so check this out. Well, you could put it on the thing here.
Okay. Oh, are you screen recording it?
No, I'll record it and send it to you. But
okay,
just to show you here.
Or you can send me the link, yeah.
So there's these lasers that were seen over Hawaii. And they're saying that it's Chinese satellites, like surveying or scanning.
Or it's just some dumbass kid with a big ass laser pointer.
But look how it's coming down though. It's coming down from top to bottom. It's not coming at an angle.
Oh,
And look at that spread. You got to think of who knows how far it caught those.
that is weird. That ain't some kid.
You know, and like the rate of speed, then that's probably maybe a few miles worth of distance or it's already covered. So to say that to somebody, I would say is probably unlikely.
Could it possibly be drones with some lasers?
That's maybe, but they're again, I don't know who said it's possibly Chinese satellites doing this shit, but who knows, man? I just saying maybe that could be it. Like there's a lot more going on, and rather than say, hey, it's China fucking with us, we'll just say it's an unidentified flight, not to create like mass hysteria. That could be a potential.
In my primate brain, I want to believe that we're being spied on by aliens and not foreigners. You know what I mean? Like I feel like there's this. I know there's a part
You want it to be
deep
true?
inside of everybody that's just like, just fucking show up already. Like, reveal yourself, Oz. You know what I mean? Like, just show yourself, because you hear the folklore and you hear the stories and you see the piece of shit videos and the 180 quality, the 180p that just for some reason people can't capture in today's technology decent video or a photo of these objects. You know, so it just leaves us hanging in, you know, what is it? Suspense, yeah. And it's just like, fuck, we want to know already. Like, all right, like I think it's been long enough. You guys have been, and slowly we're starting to see certain things leak out. And but there's still, I still feel like there's no definitive evidence that proves that there are other beings out there, which I think there are for sure. It's like mathematically, it has to be impossible, right?
Well,
with the amount of
stuff,
solar systems and possibilities.
Well, we spoke about this on the previous podcast once. Yeah, bro, I agree. And I think, but I agree with, we'll end it here, but I agree with physicist Brian Cox.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, he said, like you said, the numbers, there's so much shit out there. They're out there. He believed that they're out there. The only caveat to that would be the distance in between everything is so fucking vast. With the current laws of physics that we know and understand, if there's another set of physics we're not aware of that allows them to, you know, traverse those great distances with next to no time, then that would be likely. But with the shit that we do know, that they're so far away that it would be nearly impossible.
There's this picture that on a video, or there's a picture of like, it shows our solar system and then, or not our solar system, but like our galaxy. And then it has like a little thing pointing to us and it says Earth and like all the shit surrounding it. And it's just like, it kind of makes you rethink it again. Like, yeah, there's a lot of, you know, stars that are right next to us in close proximity to us.
Yeah, like,
you know,
Proxima Centauri.
Yeah,
the 4 light years away. Yeah, the nearest
it's like
star.
relatively. It looks close on paper, but in reality, it's actually very far.
Like millions of years at our current.
But nonetheless, we're surrounded, right? And it's like if you spilled a bunch of salt on the floor.
Yeah, throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah, toss some salt over your right shoulder. It's like if you threw a bunch of salt on the ground. It's like one of the smallest grains on there is our Earth. So it's like.
Actually, probably more accurate description is one of those grains of salt is our solar system.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
and then but when you trip out in this picture and you actually look at how small and insignificant we are in comparison to our surrounding, it's like maybe they haven't found us yet. Maybe because it would, like, why out of all this they decide to just navigate to us and somehow stumble upon the one little speck that has some life forms on it, or do they have some detection capabilities that we're completely unaware of that are developed by these higher beings and higher intelligent, you know, that higher intelligence that we can't even fathom at this point. So maybe they can measure like energy that's going on in the universe that's foreign to what, you know, this type of energy. Yeah. And then maybe it radiates into a certain color, or they can feel it telepathy. I don't know. Like maybe, I don't fucking know, but.
To kind of piggyback on what you just said real quick, on the vastness of it, the salt, right?
Yeah.
There was this region of space in the night sky that was like seemingly black. Like there was no light coming from it for whatsoever. So what they did is they pointed the Hubble telescope at that direction for like months of just absorbing light, long exposure basically, right? They got the data back after a few months of processing the data. It was like an image worth of like 1,000 stars, right? But they weren't stars. Each dot was a galaxy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like in this one image that, they survey the sky and there's like, oh, there's nothing there. That's weird. Let's point a fucking big ass camera at it essentially. Oh, look at that. There's a lot more shit out there than, and it looked black.
Isn't
it was like completely no visible light that we can see.
Doesn't that scare you a little bit?
The vastness of it?
Because when you put it in terms of how vast this universe and this reality system that we're in actually is, it almost feels like our existence right now didn't even happen. It almost feels like this shit ain't even real, bro. Like how is it? We're so tiny on the grand scale of things. How are we able to have this experience? It just, for me, that genuinely blows my fucking mind. And how people aren't looking up. Well, light pollution is one reason, but why people aren't looking up more often and contemplating this, or maybe they do, I just don't know. And why it's not more trending on Twitter,
bro,
blows my mind.
But here's the thing, though: the videos that do trend on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram that are related to that kind of stuff have some of the most views and the videos with the most comments, right? At least in my experience, anyway. And what's crazy is like most people do have that genuine
sense of awe.
Yeah. Of course, you have your fucking tinfoil hat people, like, the Earth's flat and NASA's a hoax.
But that still doesn't, like, if these idiots, they need to be trained on, like, all right, look, well, okay, well, then what is everything in general? You dumbass. Like, even if it is that, then what the fuck is the rest of it? Even if the Earth is flat, who cares? Like, okay, well, then what is the Earth built around? And what is that built around? And who created that?
Sure. For me, like, the thing that makes me upset.
I start sounding like a crazy person when these topics come up because my mind just goes all over the place.
Honestly, that's what you need people that kind of think outside the box.
I'm not, though. I don't know what to do with this information. And
this is what you do with it, bro. Because I'm pretty sure, dude, like, okay, I remember one night we were drinking outside at Sean's house when we built that fire pit.
As every great story begins.
Right. And I was outside with Bernal, and he was like, John, talk to me about stars. You know a lot about stars.
Yeah.
Right? So I started talking about some of these particular stars and stuff. And dude, like, it was like an hour-long conversation. Like, we started late, but it was like 3 a.m. He's like, hey, when we come over tomorrow, can we do it again?
Fuck this timer. I want to talk about this.
You know what I'm saying? So I genuinely think, bro, because it's fuck, to quote Star Trek, the last frontier. Like, it really is, dude. Like, there's
what if
so
it's
much.
Not, though?
Well, this is the last frontier that we know of. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, to think that they launched the Voyager space probe like in the 70s, and up until a few years ago, it finally left our solar system and has been traveling like at fucking 20, 30,000 miles an hour or some shit, dude, like that.
That's how vast everything is.
So, like, yeah, it just now left our fucking solar system, and I
always wonder, like, how do they get these selfies of the universe like this? Like, who's taking this shit? Like, it's satellites, right?
I would have to assume, bro, the Milky Way galaxy is just like artist rendition, because you would have to get so far away to capture it in its entirety.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who is taking these pictures? Like,
but
there's not a TikToker out there with the camera, like, right?
No,
like,
right on the outside, But as far as the other galaxies that are out there, yeah, you got the Hubble Space Telescope. They got the James Webb that's up there now. A bunch of all these other observatories throughout the world.
Is Hubble? Is this Hubble's law, where it's the law where the universe is expanding? Is that Hubble's law? Edwin?
I don't know. I'm sure it is. 'Cause it was named after him. So
okay, it has to be. But it's the theory that the universe is
that I don't know actually
expanding.
But they've proven that it is.
Which is weird, because remember the guy that on the previous podcast talking about he remembers before the universe was created, and in that process of creating the next density, the next lowest density, the whatever this existence is, this reality system, it takes deep breaths. It like goes in and then goes out. It goes in and then it goes out, almost like a inhale exhale thing. But it's funny if you think about that. Like,
that jogged my memory, so continue.
Yeah, but it's funny that you think about that, because Edwin Hubble's theory on the universe is that at one point it came from this to that, and we're
So
in the process. We're in the process of expanding. Exactly, like a lung. So it's like, how do you make that connection, that correlation? There has to be some, right?
Maybe.
And this is from a guy who had a pre-birth experience, explaining that this is not our only reality system. And
well,
this
I mean,
is
that's
one way.
that there's also the theories of the multiverse theories as well. So that kind of goes into what he's saying. If you think about it, this is just one of the many densities.
Yeah.
And they're postulating. I guess they have no way of confirming this, but interesting. It reminded me. I spoke to Logan about the podcast, and I think he's interested to. But he was like, I don't know if how I'm going to be on camera. And
you don't have to be on camera.
That too, but I also explained to him, I was like, dude, when I did it, if you looked at any of my social medias, it was like a couple selfies from the bathroom. That was about it. Like, I don't like being on camera.
You look good now, though. Look,
I don't like. Hold on, let me show my tattoo.
But you get used to it, thoh.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
You forget they're here.
I forget that this shit's here. The thing that keeps me engaged is the microphones, because I can hear myself speak. Yeah, and like when you take it out, you can hear your echo, so it doesn't feel as intimate.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes it feel, I don't know, it's just that he'll get used to it.
So, but yeah, and I'd be a person that I would like to pick his brain on.
There's so many people I want to pick their brains about certain things, because even with you, like, there's certain things when we converse, like, I don't always think of the same shit all the time. Like, you provoke thoughts inside of me that I never would have navigated towards if you weren't here. That's why doing a podcast solo is a completely different venture, because that creation is just not sparked. Like, that flip is just not switch. Like, the switch is just not flipped. I have to have dyslexia, bro, because I do that shit a lot.
That's right. Remember I told you about on the way to the store?
Oh, yeah. You ever flunk with the flat line?
I was like, y'all, you ever fuck with the flat line? But it came out, y'all flat with the fuck line.
Yeah. I do that shit so much. But
I went to go order tacos one time at Taco Bell, and they had this taco called, and I had to think about how to say it. I was like, I'll fuck it up again. A volcano taco is what it was called. I went to order that, but it came out volcano caco.
A volcano taco?
No, caco. I switched the T.
Volcano caco.
Yeah, I switched the T and the C. And yeah, anyway, I do that too. So maybe I have a form of dyslexia I'm not aware of.
I know I for sure do, because I'll when I spell shit, I'll put the letters and the positions they're not supposed to be in, the order they're not supposed to be in. So, and then it like number. I think that's why numbers confuse me so much. Like, because I'll look at numbers and they don't make sense sometimes, and I'll really, really have to think about them. But anyway, the reality systems thing completely blows my mind, and it scares me. And I was gonna ask you before we went on that little rant. Do you feel like with the multiverse theory that somewhere along the line, maybe that if it is possible that somehow, some way, we switched into a different parallel universe, and now things are just slightly different? Because I feel like everything is just different now. For some reason, I just get that vibe, man. Nothing feels the same anymore. Everything just feels so odd. Do you feel that way?
In some ways, yeah, but
I don't know.
I never really drew that. Like, that would be the conclusion.
Well, there's this freaking 11-year-old kid on YouTube that explains like what he thinks happened, and it's basically some catastrophic event happened within the universe, and it caused us to go from this universe to like this one, but slightly, and it bumped us up to that one. From here to there, from here to there, without us realizing it, because the change was so minute, to the point where everything is basically almost the same, but there's certain things that are different.
I don't know, man.
That could explain Kanye going crazy. That could explain
I see.
Trump being president. That could explain the autonomous, direction that we're headed with AI and stuff like that. And like every little thing that seems like it shouldn't be there, and that is now there, and all these technology developments and stuff, and like this weird shit that you see like in these fads could be explained by that. And that's kind of one of the theories out there.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
You've never seen that video of the
kid? No.
It's like an 11-year-old kid explaining the fourth dimension. It's got like 21 million views on it.
Oh, I'll have to peep that. It sounds interesting.
I didn't understand. I'm not going to act like I did, but
yeah, man. Fucking wheel time?
We'll spin the wheel.
It's a UFO shit. What does it say? Natty or not?
Natty versus not natty bodybuilding.
Oh, it's a fun topic.
Do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So natty versus not natty bodybuilding, and this is pretty controversial, I want to say, because I think the biggest misconception about being on gear or steroids or PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, is that whoever decides to take them are lazy.
Yeah, it's a common misconception. Yeah.
The thing that people don't realize is even if you're on PEDs or whatever it is that you want to take to enhance your performance, you still have to do the things that you were doing prior to taking them, like eating. You have to maintain your calorie intake, whether it's a cut or a bulk. You still got to make sure that all of that is taken care of. You still have to hit the gym just as often, if not harder. And you actually have to be more careful when you're doing this stuff. And I'm natural, but I follow a lot of people in the fitness industry and at the highest levels, like C-Bum, for example, and who openly admits to being on steroids, which is, just something that it's pretty well known that these guys are using. But you still have to work your ass off. Yes, you can get away with certain things, and you don't have to, maybe your diet doesn't have to be as tight if you just want to gain muscle strictly. But when it comes to the Mr. Olympia, these levels of performance, you have to have it dialed in. You can't be lazy.
I would argue that it's even harder.
Why is that?
Well, if you think about the pharmacology about it all, right, and the biology, you're putting your body through an enormous amount of stress, right? The body likes to be in homeostasis, likes to be even keel and everything.
Okay, what does that word mean?
Homeostasis meaning like balanced, like your normal, like where your body normally resides.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever you have one hormone higher than the other, your body's like, shit, we got to be in balance. Your body starts going through changes, right? So for you to induce and introduce all of these exogenous steroids or androgens, exogenous androgens, it's like, okay, you can do this and you'll gain some muscle mass. There's no, it's going to be easier because the protein synthesis is on gear, on anabolics is going to be fucking crazy, right?
Meaning that the amount of protein you're taking in gets utilized better?
Yeah, right.
And I'm just wildly guessing.
So your body's going to be able to utilize protein a lot better.
Because I think people forget too, if you're let's just say you need 200 grams of protein per day, your body doesn't take all of it in. It actually gets rid of some. So you're really getting like what, 180 or something
I don't know what the ratio might be, but
it's along those lines, right?
So yeah, it helps with that, bro. Muscle recovery. So if you're going to put your body through these stresses, bro, you're adding a bunch of outsourced,
foreign chemicals
into your body. And you're actually changing the chemical, structure of your body, the way was designed to run optimally. You better be putting all of your eggs into that basket, right? So you can't have a day where you miss the gym, or you can't have a day or you can, but what's the point, right, of doing this? So I think people think like, oh, well, I can slack off. So no, you better be on it, right? Because you're doing this to yourself. And there is no one in their right mind is going to say, hey, dude, you take gear. If you do it right, there's going to be no side effects. There'll be minimal side effects. And it comes down to the longevity of how long you do it.
But doesn't that depend, though, on the biochemistry of the individual?
Yes.
You may react different than me.
So, 100%. There's no denying that. However, running gear for a long period of time, there will come side effects. Like so for instance, let's say you and I are both on testosterone. The ester doesn't matter whether it's enanthate, propionate, or acetate. It doesn't really fucking matter. Let's say we're taking the same gear, right? And we both start off on, let's just say 200 milligrams a week. Let's say we bump it up to 500, right? Let's say 500 for you're gaining a bunch of size. You're getting a little bit of water retention. Me at 500, I'm starting to get fucking back knee. I'm having a bunch of aromatization of the testosterone, so my body's now aromatizing it into, and my body's creating a lot of estrogen in as a to bring down to match the testosterone increase. Now I'm gonna start getting gyno,
Gyno, yeah, the titties.
acne, just like a bunch of side effects, right? What you don't want, you know. So yeah, the biochemistry of each
So the
individual is different,
thresholds of each individual may be different.
maybe different, but there's one thing that's going to happen with testosterone is it will suppress your natural testosterone production, meaning you're just going to
That's why
shut
your
down
balls shrink, right?
yeah, you'll shut down your testes, right? So your testicles will shrink. That's inevitable. That's still a side effect that you're going to be facing. Um, so the side effects may vary from individual to individual. The dosage might vary from one person can tolerate more than the next. But there's still side effects that come with it. It's not like it's a free for all. You know, otherwise everybody would be doing it and they'd be legal, right? So I think it's a misconception. I think honestly though, if you're gonna be on gear, you better have your shit on point. Otherwise, what's the point? And you better be making the most, because you can go hard in the gym. You could have 2 chest days on the same day, you know, whereas like
Because it increases your recovery rate,
yeah,
right?
mm-hmm.
So you are able to fit in that muscle group more often than you would being
Like
off of
when
a cycle.
Arnold, if you look at any of the shit that Arnold talked about or in his Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding, like that dude had fucking 2-a-days. And he would do the complete body workout in like fucking 2 days. And on the third day, he's starting from the top again. That's including back, biceps, chest, shoulders, legs.
So he's doing a 3-day full body cycle.
Essentially, that's one of his workout regimens. But like, how could you do that without that kind of stuff?
Can you believe how much I am coming?
Right. How could you go back and do that at the same intensity that he and many others like him were able to do?
You couldn't do it naturally, no.
So yeah, so
your
like,
body just naturally doesn't recover that fast,
and that's why they grew into the size that they did, because they were putting their body on these enormous amounts of stress.
But that goes back, kind of contradicting your point though, of it being easier. So the fact that you're recovering.
Yeah, but again, my point being is
harder.
Like you can take the gear, and if you still do your 1-a-day workouts, or you're still doing the one muscle group per day, you're not going to grow as much. So if you want to get that growth, then you better have.
So you're saying because you recover so fast,
you better be in there.
You have to be working
harder.
I mean, that just depends on your mindset.
Working more.
That just depends on how fast you actually want to grow, because the capabilities of you being on gear
But like, my point is that you were saying that it makes it easier where you don't have to go as hard, or you don't have to be on point with your diet. Well, if you want to get that growth if you're going to be on gear, you made a decision, I want to grow, and I want to grow substantially. So you better be in the gym more times than you're not, than you otherwise be. So I would say it's actually harder because you have to dedicate more time and more energy into it.
Yeah, if you want to do it rapidly though, but I think,
but it's still, even if you did it that way, you're still going to get growth. There's no one's going to deny it's not going to build you muscle. It's still going to do what they're designed to do. You're just not going to get the growth that you think you're going to get if you continue to do what you're doing, even on gear.
So you're saying you have to step it up.
You have to step it up.
Now, I think that, yeah, obviously there's pros and cons to it, and there's going to be so many people that are going to have their varying opinions on this topic. Like, yeah, it is easier because you recover faster. But I think also there's a lot of complications that come along with it that people don't factor in, like possibly heart growth, heart enlargement.
I think it's
I feel like
ventricular or something. There's like stiffening of one of the ventricles in the heart.
Isn't that what like Rich Piana, he passed away from? His heart was enlarged?
No, I think that was Dallas McCarver. Okay. Rich Piana, I think. From my understanding, I know they had the full autopsy report. I think I briefly watched it, someone going over it. But I think they said he ingested a substance, and I think it may have been blow, and he passed out and hit his head or some shit like that while he was.
So it had nothing to do with the steroids?
I'm sure it did, but I'm sure I think it was the fall that he hit. I could be mistaken. Don't quote me on that, but I don't think it was that.
Yeah.
But I know Dallas McCarver, 100%. He was like a 25-year-old bodybuilder, a heart attack or some shit. The dude was huge. The dude was on a crazy amounts of gear. But he was also genetically predisposed because his dad had that same heart issue in his early 40s. So he had this genetic predisposition to that. The steroids exacerbated that, and he wasn't I think the guys at those levels are if you're on gear, you should be getting your blood work done anyway.
Yeah.
But and I think if you're at that level, you're getting it done constantly. But there was no indication that he had that, and unfortunately ended with him dying at like fucking 25, 26 years old. Dallas McCarver was a fucking savage, by the way, too.
I'm looking for this video, and it's this guy asking a girl like, what do you think is more attractive? Somebody who hops on gear, or
like,
somebody?
I want a guy on gear, you know.
No, it's actually the opposite. But I just wanted to.
Oh, because I have one that.
Let me play this one first.
Okay.
And then we'll throw this on the thing. But I just want your opinion on this video.
I thought I saved it. Shit.
Ready?
What's more attractive, strength or aesthetics?
Aesthetics. Because you could be 300 pounds and like chubby, like bench 400 pounds.
Natty or not natty?
Huh?
Natty or not natty?
Natty. With natty, it shows that you have like a lot of like determination and like willpower and like you have a goal, whereas not natty, no shame to people who are, but it's just like, it's the easy way out.
Yeah. If you're not competing. If you're competing, you have to. But if you're not competing, you're doing, I feel like.
If you're just lifting and then you just immediately go not natty, like, okay, anyone can do that.
Yeah.
But to like have a good physique and be natty is way more attractive.
Didn't your ex hop on SARMs?
Okay, what do you think of that?
I think it goes to what you said.
I think it's personal preference, man.
Well, yeah, I'm not denying that she's not allowed to have a preference. What I'm saying, to me, it piggybacks off what you prefaced the whole thing with.
Yeah.
That it's an easy way out. It really isn't. It really isn't. And especially when you incorporate all of the potential side effects that are associated with that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not.
I feel this way about it. I feel like it's exactly what it says it is. It's an enhancement, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a lazy person already and you hop on this shit and you don't go to the gym, nothing's gonna happen. You're gonna stay exactly the way that you are with some extra water retention, right? And maybe some other bullshit side effects that you didn't anticipate, but that doesn't change the fact that you're lazy. But if you're a naturally, like, if you're a person that has a lot of willpower and determination and you're a hard worker and you hop on this shit, it's just going to give you more of an edge and more of an advantage than it would if you were natural, you know. It's going to increase. I can't focus when you're looking at your phone.
I'm trying to find the video, bro. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the video. I'm listening to what you're saying.
Talking to the wall.
No, I'm listening to what you're saying.
I know.
I'll find it eventually. It's somewhere here.
But it's exactly what it says it is. It's an enhancement, and those who are lazy aren't going to get anything from hopping on if they're a lazy person. I think I feel like it rewards those who are actually hard workers, and it gives them more bang for their buck, rather. You know what I mean?
Yes. I would also say, bro, honestly, if you're going to be if someone's on gear, I don't understand it's not the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
Let them do them. What difference does it make to cast a judgment upon them for that?
I think exactly, too. I think mind your own fucking business.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you're not competing, what does it matter to you? If you are competing, they have natural bodybuilding competitions. Just don't ever aspire to be the people that you see online, because you'll never be them without the gear. There's very few people that can obtain the physiques. And I would say a lot of the guys that say that they are very questionable, even if they provide their blood work.
Mm-hmm.
The best way that I heard blood work described was it's a snapshot at that particular moment of what's going on in your body. It doesn't paint a full picture.
So he could have used prior to get to that size that he's at, but it doesn't actually reflect that on the paperwork.
Exactly. And there's this, I can't think of the kid's name, but he provided some I don't know, fucking screenshot his fucking paper, his blood work, whatever, was going over it online. Clearly this guy knew what he was talking about, but he didn't know everything, because there was one fucking category that was super off the charts. I don't think it was either low or high, which is indicative of PED use. Right. And he was going on and on about it. And he's like, well, dude, you forgot this fucking bullet point. This would not happen unless you have something actually going on in your body, which you seem like you're pretty fucking healthy. So that's not going to be the case. Or you're on gear and it crushed this one particular level.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot what it was. So, but yeah, blood work is a snapshot of a moment in time. It doesn't actually paint a vivid picture of what's going on. And he like, okay, I got my blood work done, we'll say 2 weeks ago right? And then, well, here's my blood work. Well, that was 2 weeks ago, fucker. What about today? You know, so it doesn't really, it gives you a higher probability that you're not on gear because there's a lot of indications that are on there that will highlight whether or not you're enhanced or not, but it's not foolproof.
But you could also be cycling, you know.
Yeah, and mostly, but see, here's the thing.
And it's not like they're doing a DNA, like a hair follicle test. You know, they're doing the blood work.
So, but I again, I think I saw someone ask this question on there on TikTok or Instagram, but it's like, would you consider someone if they used gear in the past, but they're not in gear anymore?
Natural.
Are they still natural or not?
I would. Fuck, that's a hard. I don't know.
I would say yes, because you don't retain those things once you stop your cycle. So,
I guess so. Yeah, it just depends on in the moment.
But I forgot my point where I was going with that. But in any case, you know, yeah, dude, if you're competing, go compete in a fucking natural bodybuilder class. You know,
I just don't. I just try to mind my business, man. I want to chase after my own goals and run my own race. You know, I'm never comparing myself to somebody who's in the gym unless that's something I aspire to be. You know, and then I'll figure out a way how I can get there with the circumstances that I'm dealt, or I find myself within, and you know, the tools that I have in my arsenal already. You know, because I'm not one who would consider doing that just because I don't want to compromise anything in my body with foreign chemicals, and I know how I am. I'm pretty sensitive to them, and I just don't want that mental stress, you know, lingering in the back of my mind, thinking like, oh shit, am I having a heart attack or something like that? I don't need that added extra stress to my life. So I'd rather just be natural. And for me, I'm one of those people who enjoy the struggle of like trying to grow my muscles and having, for me, you know, to have it take a little bit longer, you know, because for me, I'm looking for longevity in this thing. And I don't want to wear out my welcome, so to speak, when it comes to the gym, because this is my getaway. This is something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. And I feel like I always want to find room for improvement. So I don't want to sprint to the finish line, in other words.
Well, I mean, I
want to enjoy the scenery on the way there.
No, I completely understand. There's also a thing, genetic limit, right? Where you're going to max out, and that's as far as you'll ever get naturally. I don't think people ever really reach their true genetic potential because they're not really pushing themselves to that degree, because it's a lot of dedication, a lot of work, bro, to get to that kind of point.
That's a lot.
But
you basically become a professional eater. Essentially,
yeah. So, but yeah, man, when it comes to natty or versus not natty, it's every person for themselves, you know? You shouldn't throw any shade. It doesn't say it's the easy way out. It's just like, what is the image of yourself that you have in your head? Okay. Everyone has their own vision of what they want to be. Now, for some people, that's the vision that they may have is like, dude, you're not going to get there without being enhanced. Sorry. There's no amount of fucking eating you can do. There's no amount of workouts that you can do. They're going to get you to that particular level. For some people, their image may very well be very attainable in a natural state of mind.
But I feel like you got to be realistic about the actual goal. Like if your real goal is to be Mr. Olympia and be of that size and that stature, then you can't do that naturally.
Well, but here's the thing, and this is what I would say Liver King was a big example of this, because he's portraying to the world prior to him being exposed by Derek from moreplates.moredays.com that you do my 9 ancestral tenets and you can look like me, eat fucking testicles and raw liver and heart and shit, and you'll turn into me. Just do what I do.
I fucked up.
Never mind the fucking fact that you were on like a $10,000 a month cycle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What a fucking idiot, huh?
So it was, to me, it was just like, look, bro, if you're going to sell an image, then sell your image, but be truthful in your image. Okay. Because if people like, dude, The Rock is another one. You don't get more muscular as you get fucking older, as testosterone's naturally crashing.
Is that what he
bro.
said? Is that what he claimed?
I can't say he has, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to come out to the world. I'm on juice.
I think that's only because of marketing purposes, though.
That might be the case, but the fact of the matter is that people look at him like, I fucking work out 80 hours a day and I eat fucking 2 trillion calories a week.
I think it's very misleading when putting it the way he puts it, because he's putting out the image there that if you just work hard, you could look like me. And that's what it seems like.
Yeah, and when you start thinking about biology, bro, like, how old is he? Is he fucking
50? Isn't it like 53 or something?
You don't get more muscular. He looks better now than he did when he was fucking in his prime, when you have the biggest natural concentration of testosterone in your blood. As you get older, as a man, your testosterone is on a precipitous downfall, bro. It's coming down pretty fucking like alarming.
Rapidly.
Right? you don't look like him without being enhanced, bro. So when you sell images to people, right? I mean, maybe he doesn't come out and say I'm natural, I'm not natural, but it's implicit in the way he speaks and his work. And no, I'm not taking his work ethic. That motherfucker works hard as fuck. But Liver King, him, fucking Mike O'Hearn, another fucking piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
Can't
He'll
stand
never,
his ass.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't know why
Like,
he doesn't admit that he's on something, bro.
you know, dude, it's just, again, maybe that's his image that he's trying to sell. But like,
I'll be
dude,
real.
you
I
don't-
look at his workouts.
He does.
He knows what he's talking about the workout.
Yeah, but
he doesn't admit.
for you to attain, like, well, I'm just genetically gifted. No one's denying that you're fucking genetically gifted. You're in your fucking, 40s, 50 years old, and you look like that. No one's denying that, buddy. But you also have to pay your rent. Hey, bud, I look at this. I work hard. I'm genetically gifted. But I'm also on this other stuff here that's allowing me to maintain this physique and this amount of work ethic that I'm able to put forth energy-wise, you know?
Tell me that Michael Hearn doesn't look like the fucking guy from Shrek, the prince.
The
guy,
Like Lord Farquaad?
No, the other guy. Like, I'll bring it up right now.
Oh, from the second one?
Yeah.
With the blonde hair?
Yeah. Tell me he doesn't look exactly
Prince
like
Charming.
Prince, is that him? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it? Shrek. Yeah.
Shrek 2.
Tell me he doesn't look exactly like him, bro. He looks. That's Michael Hearn. I'm gonna put the side to side picture right here. Michael Hearn looks like the prince from Prince Charming from Shrek, bro. He looks exactly like him.
Yeah, he does. Even the hair.
I'm surprised the comments don't say that, because when you look at him in the videos, you're just like, bro, this guy's too fucking good looking.
Yeah.
Like,
Bro, and he's like in fucking shredded, bro. Fucking 200 some pounds, just fucking meat. Let's just stack of meat, dude. Looks good.
and then the message is you just gotta work hard and eat a lot.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, that's not. I mean, yes, that's true, but that's not your whole. That's not the entirety of the truth.
So that's 50% of what you should be doing.
I would say it's more than that, but there's the elephant in the room is your own gear, buddy. You know what I'm saying? So,
All right, 20 minutes on this topic. Let's fucking switch it up.
anyway, I don't know why Michael Hearn would see this, but come on, buddy, be real.
Okay. Before I turn the camera off. Okay, so I spun the wheel and it said haunted museum. I kind of want to talk about this.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Haunted museum. So, yeah, there's a haunted museum out there and it's haunted. Next subject.
Check it out. www.hauntedmansion.com. All right, spin the wheel.
Okay, so there's this museum that my aunt went to and she was telling me about it, and she wants us to go with her to this museum, but I don't want to go because I'm fucking afraid.
Now, is it a haunted museum like Hobbs Grove?
No. Let me explain. So it's called Zach Bagans something museum. I want to say haunted museum, but in this museum they have the actual haunted objects of the folklore that you hear about, like Annabelle and all that shit, in this museum. And it's like all the creepiest shit in the world, that even the ones that you say if you make eye contact with it, you're fucked.
Okay.
And they store all this shit there. And there's even some rooms where she was explaining, like, if you go in here, they have guidelines. Like, no disrespecting the object. You have to say hello. You have to say goodbye. You have to greet it. You have to do this, and that. Otherwise, you're going to disrespect the entity that's living within these objects. So we're dealing with this kind of place. And in my head, I'm just
interesting. Fuck, I want to run stupid experiments.
I
Fuck
do,
you.
I
And
do
then-
too, but I want to ruin my life.
Then I get home and it's like, hey, bitch, remember me?
That's basically, I'm lying down at night and I have to get up and take a piss at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, maybe I'll be all right. I just pissed the fucking bed.
Sorry, babe. We're just going to watch the sheets today.
Yeah, like that type of shit is what would fuck with me. And that's where I'm most scared of it. I can get through it in the moment. There's no problem. But it's the aftershock of the encounter. It's like, you don't know, like with this type of shit. Is it going to follow you home? Is it going to attach to certain individuals? Because she was also giving me accounts of certain people that they were saying, and this is all here. I don't know if it's hearsay, but she said that night when they went home, they got sick. They two of her room, like the people that she went with, they had like the stomach flu and all that shit. But there's accounts of people that have like certain physical reactions to just being within close proximity of these objects. So, do you think that's a placebo? Do you think that's a placebo thing?
Again, I don't have any data, but I've heard through the grapevine that the body's a wondrous machine, and if you get yourself to believe something's going on, you'll start to fucking it'll
Yeah.
manifest itself through the body.
Yeah.
So maybe these people were just hyper paranoid about it, and they were looking like I could feel my heartbeat, right? Hear my heartbeat. And you know what I'm saying? And just kind of one of those types of situations. But I'm down to go because I told you, bro, scary movies don't scare me for the sake of like scaring me, but it's the shit that's like this, like fucking horror movies don't do it for me.
Yeah.
Stuff that surrounds shit like that.
It's got 5 stars or 4.6.
But those particular situations, bro, like, or those hauntings or haunted shit surrounding that kind of stuff, that gets me. Just like, fuck, if there's any truth to this stuff, like, that's the, be careful what you wish for type shit.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm down to go though, man. 4.6 is a pretty good review. How many reviews does it have?
I'm gonna look right now. Hold on. I want some fun facts about this fucking shit. So, okay. So I didn't know this. So, all right. So the museum, I don't know how many reviews it had, but it's got like 4.6. But it's in Las Vegas too. So if we ever decided to go, we'd have to definitely plan ahead on like what the hell we're gonna do and take a couple days to kind of like plan the whole thing. But fuck, dude, I don't even know if I'd want to go, to be honest.
Let's just do it, bro. Fuck it. Come on. Plus, we get a Vegas trip out of it. Go have some fun.
And I've never been to Vegas either. I never had any aspirations to go, but all right. So I didn't know this. Zach Bagans, he's the host and lead investigator of Ghost Adventures. So it's his museum. So that's interesting. Located in downtown Las Vegas, Nevada, there's over 30 rooms of haunted objects and artifacts. Fuck that. The building that houses the museum was originally built in 1938 as a mansion and has a long history of paranormal activity. So are they saying that the mansion is already haunted?
That's what it sounds like.
That's 2 stones with 1 bird because I've always wanted to visit a mansion/castle. Why can't I fucking talk today? Mansion/castle. But also it's haunted. So that's interesting.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Isn't like Hearst Castle haunted or
I don't know, but I've always wanted to go to Hearst Castle.
No, Winchester. The Winchester Mansion is supposed to be haunted, isn't it?
I don't know, but I want to check out Hearst Castle. There's a bunch of videos I've been watching of this.
I think it's the Winchester Mansion or Castle, what the fuck it's called. Because she had a bunch of rooms. Because I guess like, did you ever see a movie about that?
Mm-mm.
I guess. Well, I forgot. I don't know. What's the fuck? John Winchester. I don't know Winchester's first name, but the guy that made the Winchester rifle. He died. And his wife felt responsible for all the deaths that were associated with his invention. And so she had all these rooms that like you'd open the door and there was nothing there. Like it'd be a fucking wall. And it was a way to keep these fucking spirits that were associated with the death from their creation and the wealth that they accrued from making the Winchester rifle. So I think it's supposed to have apparently it's a fucking like 850 rooms or some shit like that. It's a massive fucking mansion. And that's how she kind of coped with it. Like in the movie, there was certain scenes of these spirits that were upset and she was trying to like liberate them, like, hey, be free type situation. Interesting movie. I'll try to find it and link it to you. But it's here in California.
The museum contains a wide variety of haunted and cursed objects, including a Debuk box. What is that? Which inspired the horror movie The Possession, the infamous staircase from the Demon House in Gary, Indiana, and the chair where Michael Jackson breathed his last breath.
It's kind of creepy.
One of the most famous exhibits in the museum is the Ghost Adventures Room, which contains items that were featured on the show, such as the creepy doll Isabel. Ooh, that's fucking creepy, bro. And the haunted mirror that allegedly caused multiple injuries to people who have gazed into it. Not looking at that thing. I'll tell you that right now. Not going to look into that. Visitors to the museum can take guided tours that last approximately 1 hour and include a mix of history and paranormal stories. The museum has strict rules such as no touching the objects, no photos or videos allowed. Zach Bagans believes that the objects can possess people who come in contact with them.
So how the fuck did he get them there? Is his burden to carry now? Like I brought him.
I don't think he took them there. He probably
Someone
hired some idiots like fucking meathead moving.
Like Craigslist ad, hey, I need help moving some objects.
Yeah. Pays $20. The museum also hosts special events such as Halloween themed tours and seances.
Dude, you know what? How about this? Tell your aunt we'll fucking plan it for Halloween or around that time.
That's the best time to go. Honestly.
Let's do it. How about you tell your aunt, like, hey, so we'll look at, see if there's any tickets available. I'm sure around that time of year, it's going to be rather packed.
Yeah.
Get in contact with your aunt and we'll fucking plan it for October. I'm down. Like, that'd be fun.
Are you really?
It sounds like it'd be fucking fun.
But my aunt wants us to go there. She went there and she said it was really fun. But there's just something about being around shit like that just really gives me the heebie-jeebies, I guess you want to call it. But I've always been scared of that shit. I remember my cousin one time when I was like 10 years old made me watch The Exorcist. Did you ever watch that movie?
No, but I heard it was quite the fright back in this day.
It's a weird movie, man. It's weird. And there's videos of people on YouTube doing like real exorcisms, and I just haven't had the courage to
watch them.
To type it in even.
Oh.
Like I don't like. What am I gonna get out of that?
I don't know. Confirmation that it may exist. I don't know. It's a good one.
Like there's just something so creepy about a priest and somebody who's possessed. Or even
because like that's like the ultimate war right there, right? That's the battle of spirits. You know? Like I said, bro, I'm interested in this stuff enough to like I have my thoughts, but I'm not interested enough to the point where I want to conduct my own experiments. But
I don't want to.
Maybe I should stop being a little bitch about it and just say, fuck it, let's just go see what happens.
I think that's the wrong way to approach it. I think that's how you get fucked.
Well, I'm not saying be careless in our, endeavors. I'm just saying let's just go out there and like find these hauntings and try to do what everybody else does and see if it gets, I'm just saying like maybe we'll hear nothing but crickets the whole night. Or maybe we'll see some shit that makes us like, holy fuck, dude, did you feel that? Did you hear that saying that, hey, Mark, when you walked by?
I think the one thing that
Don't drop the soap.
I think the one thing that we would experience that just won't translate to camera is the feeling that we would get from it, the vibe, the overall vibe. Because like we said before, and a lot of people have reported, is that you could just feel the energy in certain areas when you go to like a haunted house or something where something horrific happened. Apparently, you could feel the energy and the vibe shifts.
So I wonder if you were to bring somebody in that had no knowledge of what that establishment was, or that building,
like a double-blind experiment.
Just bring someone in and they give your accounts of what's going on,
mm-hmm.
and that way, because I feel like if there was a horrific murder scene here, or it's a haunted place for whatever the case may be, they're gonna go in with that mindset.
Would they notice?
And so they're going to be like hyper vigilant and hypersensitive to any sort of sensation they may be experiencing, right? So I think a good way to do that is just fucking drag a person to a house and be like, hey, how do you feel right now? I feel pretty good, or it feels kind of weird, dude, like kind of eerie, like I don't know. I'm just saying.
What's the story that stuck? Do you have any folklore that your grandparents or parents told you, like stories growing besides the Llorona?
Honestly, bro, I remember we used to do this annual camping trip around Easter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it was the weekend of Easter.
Where to?
Chimnumney, out there by Pine Flat Lake.
Mm.
And every time we'd go to bed, that's when all the fucking stories would come out. Now, I forgot all the stories. The only one I fucking remember was, like you said, La Llorona. But there was a few, man. And I remember, like, I tried to be all fucking cool about it. We're all telling the stories and shit. And then, like, all right, everyone's going to bed. And you're in fucking tents. So you can hear all the goddamn brush moving when the wind would go, or maybe it was like coyote walking by or some shit. And you're just like, oh, dude, I don't want to go to bed right now. I'm fucking scary as shit.
It is creepy out there, though.
Well, yeah, you're on the fucking wilderness, then you're talking about all these creepy shit that comes out at night, and you're fucking 8 years old,
We should have called this the Campfire Podcast.
We should make a spinoff.
Yeah, we could. We could do the Campfire spinoff. Fuck, I haven't been camping in so long. I miss it.
Camping's fun, but I'm bougie about it now.
Why?
I only go in a trailer.
That's the pussy way to do it,
I
bro.
don't give a fuck, dude. I hate being in a tent.
Bro, I remember one time the realest camping I ever did. My dad took us up to, I forget, it was past Shaver, so it's up there. But we just slept on the ground and then just like a little tarp like over us, like just like the fucking the V or the A tent. But like no walls or anything, and then just in our sleeping bags. And then we had a shit in a hole, and it was awesome. Yeah, it was. And And then we went for a hike like the next day. And we ate out of like little Ziploc bags. We cooked eggs in bags and everything. And then we took like bacon or some shit like that. He probably had an MRE knowing him. And then we took like a hike and there were so many mosquitoes, bro. It was the most mosquitoes I've ever seen in my life. But something about just being that exposed to the wilderness, it just makes you feel so vulnerable. Because you just feel like at any given moment, you're just going to get eaten up.
I like being camping, bro. But like I said, I'm domesticated now at this point. I want to have a shitter. I want to have a shower. You know, I don't want the elements to fuck with my sleep. But I like going outdoors, man. It's just fun because one of my favorite parts about going camping is when you first get there.
I think it's a drive up, huh?
Not even the drive. It's whatever. Especially if you're the one doing the driving, it's whatever. But like, I had a few camping trips a few years ago, and the moment I got out of the truck and you just hear nature, bro, it's quiet. You don't hear you don't hear any vehicles. All you hear is wildlife, a bunch of birds and shit. And then you get like, depending where you go camping, but like, you know, for us, we have all the redwoods and sequoias and shit. So you get that real piney smell, the
that's
earthy
the best smell, dude.
And just like, dude, and the one we went out there was some rain in the forecast. And so when we got there was a light drizzle. And the word for that earthy smell you get when it starts to rain is called, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, it's either petrichor or petrichor, but that's the smell that you get from when it starts to rain. So you had that mixed with that pine scent, dude. It was just like one of the most like intense aromas I've ever got just being outdoors.
In a good way?
In a good way, yeah. It was just like, dude, I'm out here in the fucking wild right now. You know, and then of course, like we have a big ass sign. I forgot where we went. But dude, is like, caution, bears, keep your food in the vehicles, don't keep it near your tents. Like, they even had lock boxes for you to put your food into if you didn't go equipped with it, just because we're out in the middle of fucking nowhere with bears. So you have that. It's like you're hyper vigilant, bro. Like, cause I went with my ex and the kids. So like, I was just like, where are the kids at? I'm just like, dude, on survey. You know, like there's a big ass sign that says there's big ass animals that have claws and strong as hell and have big ass teeth. And they want to eat you roaming around here. But it was fun, dude. I enjoy the environment of camping. I just hate camping in a tent because, well, you go to bed late typically when you're camping. You know, if you're going out with some friends, you're out around the campfire, shooting the shit, drinking some beer, having a good time, eating rather well. Then you go to bed, and then you're subjected to the elements because, well, the sun rises, and then you have a tent, so the light's beaming through early as hell. There's no air conditioning there, so it gets super hot.
That's what wakes you up, though, huh? That's what
the heat, yeah. So because you're cold at night, so you have all your sleeping bags on, and you're warm as shit. And the moment the sun makes its appearance, you're fucking incinerated. So
there's always that one guy too, right? He's up hella early, the fire's already going, and he's sitting by the campfire. Yep. There's always that fucking guy.
Like, fuck you, beat me.
and then you hear like little shit like in the middle of your sleep, you're like almost awake, but you're not, and you can kind of hear somebody outside of the tent just like messing around, but it's too quiet for it to be two people. Mm-hmm. So you know it's just one person. You're just like,
open up the ice. Yeah,
you feel that?
You hear the ice moving around and shit, looking for a water or something. Yeah,
bro, these are the best sounds in the world, bro. And then you think to yourself like, I'm missing something, so I got to get up.
I got to get up now.
Yeah, you got to get up.
He's like, what's up, bro?
And then
yeah.
That shit is the best, bro. And then you get out there and it's fucking freezing.
Go sit next to the fire.
You sit
next day 2. You know,
and they're supposed to drinking a beer or whoever. Or it's always like if you go when you're younger, it's always an older gentleman drinking a beer already, and it's like 7 a.m,
bro. So one thing I really enjoy, my stepdad and 2 guys started this trend where I work with my stepdad, and so they were just like, there was a guys trip, and my stepdad always wanted a trailer, and I think he was sleeping in one of the other guy's trailer, so he eventually came in some money, bought himself a 5th wheel trailer, and it was just them 3. But then that group slowly started to expand into more and more people. People they were like, we're coworkers, so we're all cool with each other. But it's like, we say some dumb shit that we don't need to get back to work. So if I say some shit, can I trust Mark not to go back there and say this to somebody? You know, we're a rather tight knit group of guys. Well, when I started working there, he's like, hey, well, you're on the in group because, well, you know, you're my stepson. So I got to go, and my first time going, there was probably about 20 of us that went out there. Bro, one of the best camping trips I've ever had, dude. Like 20 guys y'all work with, you know, we're all drinking, having a good time. All these guys fucking live barbecue, or most of these guys. There's one guy in particular, lives barbecue, bro. This guy, I think I cook really good barbecue. I have his food. I'm like, fuck, dude. How'd you do this? And I'm picking his brain, taking fucking notes. But yeah, early in the morning, I'm not gonna mention his name because this motherfucker goes hard, bro. He don't drink beer. It's fucking Jack and Coke. And you wake up and there he is, bro. Fucking pouring his Jack, getting his fucking Coke Zero, mixing together. What's up, bro? You want one? Like, and we're out there for fucking 4 nights or 3 nights, 4 days, bro. You know what I'm saying? So it gets pretty intense, but I love going out there because it kind of gives you like, I don't know, like a manly feeling, for lack of better terms, bro.
Well, yeah,
like,
you're in touch with your primitive roots, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You're chopping wood with an axe. You know, you're creating fire. I remember last time I went camping, I had to make the fire without matches. So I used flint, but still, I took I got myself a tinder bundle. I threw it and I made a frame out of the wood, and then I scraped the magnesium flint onto my what is it called? My tinder bundle, and I got my knife and I made the sparks and it went up in flames. I was like, I'm a man. But
yeah, man, like it's just cool, dude. And then I just enjoy the environment, bro. You're like, well, I'm with my stepdad in his trailer, so we have a place to shit, but they had a tent that was exclusively for shitting. Right? Yeah. So it had like one of those old people shitters. Like, and then it had a fucking bucket and with a bag in it, and every so often, all right, your last one of shit's getting full. Bag it up and fucking, or I think it was individual bags of shit, so it didn't sit there and stink. But but I don't know, man. It's just fun being outdoors. The only thing I hate about it, honestly, is the fucking mosquitoes, bro. You're going through off spray like crazy.
It's the worst. The one thing I'll never forget. Go ahead.
No, I was saying the only thing, I have the fucking blood type those fuckers love.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm getting demolished. While I was like, oh, I got bit once, and I'm over here fucking lumpy everywhere.
They don't like my skin for whatever reason, but
lucky bastard.
The one thing that always scared me when I would go camping with my grandpa is he would always tell me, don't fall in when you go take a shit in the porta potty. Because, bro, the camping porta potties are just on another level.
They're disgusting.
Like, they're gross, bro. You look in, I remember just being intrigued by it. I'd just look in there and be like, what the fuck is all that? Because there's like blue, and then there's like shit, and then you see toilet paper, and then it's like, I'm about to put my ass on this thing right now. And I was small enough at that time
to actually fall in,
to where I could fall in, bro. And then I remember having a nightmare about it one time. It's like I fell in the toilet.
Covered blue?
Yeah, that's like the worst. I remember him telling me, he was like, that's the worst way to go, bro.
But it's just funny. That's the worst way to go, bro.
Oh, he didn't say bro.
No, but that would have been fucking awesome if he did. That's fucking great, dude.
Me and my cousin and my uncle, we have BB gun wars.
Oh.
We were out there running around like BB gun wars and shit. And then we seen a snake one time. We shot it and completely uncalled for. It was just like a little baby snake. And then somehow my cousin convinced me to shoot our uncle, but it wasn't our uncle. And I shot him. I fucking shot him. He's like, what the fuck? It was just a BB gun. And we used to call him Uncle Dave, but I come to find out.
His name was Robert.
No, his name was Bob.
Oh, Robert.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He'd be like, Uncle Dave. And he'd be like, his name's Bob. Like, what are you guys calling him fucking?
You're fucking Dave, bro.
Uncle Dave. I don't know why when you're a kid, you think everybody growing up is named Dave or something. No, fucking Don or whatever.
Yeah, no, my name's Travis, bro, but cool. Dave works too.
Alrighty, that's enough. Alrighty.
Oh, fuck.
Well, yeah, I'm glad we can end it on Uncle Dave.
Uncle Dave. This one's Uncle Dave. Taking a bullet for the homies.
He did, bro. He's just sitting there minding his business.
He's a fucking Purple Heart recipient.
He's just sitting there minding his business trying to catch a fucking trout, a rainbow trout.
Ding! And then with the way the guns go, when they would shoot.
Bro, my cousin was fucking mean, bro, growing up. Like, he would pump the pellet gun
to the point where he's like, he has it put it between his legs and shit.
And then he would tell me run and tell me to zigzag, bro.
He'd be like, aight.
He's pumping the shit until I can't.
Maybe that's what your dad was like.
Fucking dumbass.
Dumber than a rock or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
As he's fucking sitting there popping the pimple with the pellet inside of it out of your fucking skull.
To be fair, we were dumb as fucking rocks. Like, who the fuck has pellet gun wars?
I remember Mikey, Eric, and Sean did that, or not Sean, but I remember they said they shot Eric in the head, and it hit his like head, and it fucking rode the skin up to the top of his scalp, and they had to fucking push it back to the hole and pop it out like a pimple.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I got a big ass scar on the back of my head from Eric's house. We were like doing some shit.
Not that Eric though, but
oh, okay, never mind then. This is completely irrelevant.
But you?
Oh boy, we were doing some shit for Halloween. He wanted to do a haunted house, and there was a part like there's a brick pillar, and the way I was facing away from the pillar, but my head was aligned with the corner of the pillar, and he had the brilliant idea to like do this jump scare where he tied like a little piece of rope to the top of the roof, and it was around his neck for whatever reason. And he had a mask on. And I was just standing right there, and we were just like going through the demo, like just giving it a run, like a test run. He's like, all right, as soon as you come out, I'm going to move the sheet, and I'm going to come out like this. So he would fall like that. But when he fell, and I was just standing there like looking at the fucking thing like this, just like waiting for him to do the jump scare, and the sheet opens up, and he fucking comes shooting forward. But when he does that, the fucking rope breaks off the thing, and his fucking head smacked my head. And I went into the bricks like that, and the next thing you know, I just got blood pouring down the back of my neck, bro. I got blood pouring down the back of my neck, and I go, oh, shit. And I ran home, bro, and I showed my dad.
Mama!
Yeah, I ran home, I showed my dad. And then, like, I didn't get stitches or anything, bro. And I've had, like, a bunch of injuries where I probably should have needed stitches, but he's like, he would tell me to let the dog lick it, bro, and I'll throw some dirt on it or some shit like that. But
remember when I fucking split my nose open outside your mom's house?
Oh, play hide and seek? Yeah.
Dumb as fuck. Yeah, right here.
For life.
Yep. Ding. I got away though, but I got taken off my feet by that fuck. In case you guys don't know, that's the night that I found out that fucking vineyards have metal wires that run through them shits.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't either until it took me off my feet and I fucking split my nose open.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So moral of the story, we're fucking dumbasses.
Be smarter than us.
I was a dumbass, Dad. We're going to wrap it up.
This has been another episode.
This has been another episode of the Unplug. This has been another episode of Unplug.
Yeah.
This has been another episode of Unplug. This has been another episode of Unplug.
With the Yeti and Spilman Steesberg.
This has been another episode of Unplug.
What the fuck are you doing?
All right, we're out of here.
I was expecting you to pop up like a Jack in the Box, bro. You're all we're fucking retarded, dude. I love it. You know, smart people don't have as much fun as dumb people, bro.
Do your favorite Arnold pose. Give me your favorite classic Arnold pose. I don't even know how he does it. The fucking
Arnold? I forget it well.